innocent. I didn't do it.
Okay.
I've maintained that the whole time.
He took out pill bottles filled with urine and feces and threw it around a Clark County courtroom.
I'm not standing. I don't have to stand.
Criminals and legal professionals alike navigate the high stakes of the courtroom, where emotions can range from triumphant to devastating. From defendants' outrageous behaviors to tearful outbursts of remorse, join us as we look at 10 of the most dramatic reactions in court. Number 1. Ricky Hand's courtroom outburst.
Sir, don't say something.
In a courtroom already tense with anticipation, the defendant Ricky Hand turned his sentencing for a string of robberies into a scene straight out of a movie. In an extreme reaction to a lengthy prison sentencing, Ricky executed a premeditated act of violence and disruption that left everyone present stunned. He had smuggled bottles filled with urine and feces into the courtroom, concealing them within an arm sling to avoid detection. As the reality of his sentence set in, Ricky retrieved these bottles and threw them at his attorney, who was there to represent him. This act shocked and appalled everyone present in the courtroom, constituting as a direct attack on even his own legal defense team. The throwing of bodily waste in a courtroom setting is a breach of courtroom decorum and respect for the judicial process. This behavior led to additional charges being imposed against Ricky, further complicating his legal situation. Number 2. T.J. Lane's chilling courtroom behavior.
Saying to pull the trigger to kill your son, masturbates to memory.
During his sentencing, defendant T.J. Lane made a deliberate and provocative choice that shocked legal attendees and the public alike. On February 27, 2012, in Chardon High School in Ohio, T.J. Lane transformed from a student to a convicted murderer. On the day of his trial, he deliberately wore a white t-shirt with the word killer handwritten across it. To make matters worse, throughout the proceedings, Lane exhibited a cold demeanor, smirking and making inappropriate gestures towards the victims' families in his killer shirt. When given the opportunity to speak, Lane's statement was brief yet filled with disrespect, further demonstrating his lack of empathy.
Saying to pull the trigger to kill your son, masturbates to memory.
The judge sentenced him to 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. Number 3. Christopher McNabb's shocking sentence suggestion.
I'm innocent. I didn't do it.
Okay.
I've maintained that the whole time.
Christopher McNabb unknowingly sentenced himself before he was actually found guilty. McNaboff was convicted of an unthinkable crime, the murder of his own 2-week-old child. After the baby was reported missing and subsequently found deceased in a nearby wooded area with blunt force trauma to the head, McNabb was arrested and charged. Throughout the trial, McNabb maintained his innocence, insisting he would never harm his child.
I'm innocent. I didn't do it.
Okay.
I've maintained that the whole time.
During sentencing, the judge asked McNabb what punishment he believed should be given to the perpetrator of such a crime. McNabb, asserting his innocence, suggested that the person responsible deserves to be under the jail, implying the maximum sentence should be applied.
If you ever find out who did them, they deserve to be under the jail.
Okay. So they ought to get the maximum sentence.
Most definitely.
Unknowingly, McNabb suggested his own sentence, as the judge then sentenced him to life in confinement without parole, following his own recommendation. Number 4. Esteban Carpio's court appearance.
He was mentally ill, and he needed help, and we couldn't get him.
Esteban Carpio, who was involved in the murder of an 85-year-old woman, entered the courtroom all beaten up, which made him look like he was the victim. He was arrested for the murder of 85-year-old Madeline Gatta, but Carpio entered the court with his face severely bruised and swollen, wearing a mask designed to prevent him from spitting or biting. This shocking image led to accusations of police brutality from his family and public outcry.
Police brutality. He was mentally ill, and he needed help, and we couldn't get him.
His family members were vocal in court, accusing the police of excessive force, which they believed was evident from Carpio's injuries. These allegations added controversy to an already complex legal case, raising questions about the treatment of suspects in custody and the balance between ensuring safety and upholding human rights. The police chief defended the officer's actions, stating the injuries resulted from Carpio's attempt to escape custody by jumping out of a window. Number 5. Yokar Tsarnaev's apology.
I am sorry for the lives that I've taken, for the suffering that I've caused you, for the damage that I've done. If there's any lingering doubt, I did do it along with my brother.
Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, convicted for the Boston Marathon bombing on April 15, 2013, displayed a surprising moment of remorse during his sentencing. Despite being found guilty of all 30 charges against him, 17 of which carried the possibility of a death sentence, Tsarnaev's demeanor throughout the trial was mostly impassive. However, this changed when he was given the opportunity to speak before the court. In a rare display of emotion, Tsarnaev admitted his guilt and expressed regret for the immense suffering he caused, stating, "I am sorry for the lives that I've taken, for the suffering that I've caused you, for the damage that I've done." This apology was significantly different from his previously stoic behavior, offering a glimpse into his state of mind. For many, this late expression of remorse did little to mitigate the pain and loss experienced by the victims and their families, but it served as a notable moment in the proceedings, capturing public and media attention as a rare admission of guilt and sorrow from a convicted terrorist. Number 6. Dante Wright's unsettling courtroom demeanor.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon, I love my family.
Dante Wright, convicted of murder at just 17, kept smiling throughout the trial, exhibiting abnormal behavior in court. His actions led to the tragic death of Jordan Klee, an 18-year-old high school student. Wright's behavior during the proceedings clashed with the gravity of his crime. Throughout the trial, he maintained a smile, displaying no visible remorse for his actions or empathy for the victim's family.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon, I love my family.
This behavior was particularly evident when Klee's family delivered their victim statements, where Wright's reaction bordered on satisfaction rather than the expected contrition or guilt.
Murdered their son by shooting him in the back of the head. He's shown absolutely no remorse.
The judge and attendees noted his almost cheerful demeanor, raising questions about his understanding of the severity of his actions and the pain inflicted on the victim's family. His sentencing to 25 to 52 years in prison in July 2017 did little to change his unsettling behavior. Number 7. Amber Geiger's tearful verdict.
I was scared this person's apartment was going to hurt me, and I'm so sorry.
A former police officer, Amber Geiger, who was convicted of murdering an unarmed man, had the most emotional response after being sentenced to 10 years of prison. Geiger shot the guy inside his own apartment, later claiming to have mistaken for her own. During her trial, Geiger's response upon hearing her 10-year prison sentence was marked by visible shock and tears, showcasing a rare moment of vulnerability.
Why did you fire?
I was scared.
This high-profile case drew national attention, sparking debates over police accountability and racial injustice in the United States. The public and media scrutiny of Geiger's tearful response reflected the polarized opinions surrounding the case, with some viewing her sentence as a step towards justice for Jean, while others criticized it as insufficient given the gravity of the crime. Number 8. Ryan Stone's high-speed chase consequences.
Yeah, my lawyer told me I made the news in the UK and Australia.
Ryan Stone, who was arrested for a high-speed chase with a 4-year-old child inside the car, was actually proud of his crime, showing no remorse during the trial. This case captivated the nation as it was broadcast live on television. Stone led police on a dangerous pursuit across multiple states, endangering countless lives through his reckless actions. Throughout the pursuit, Stone reached speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, executed multiple carjackings, and caused several collisions, one of which resulted in serious injuries to a state trooper. Upon his capture and during his trial, Stone expressed remorse for his actions.
Start a family of my own with my beautiful wife.
A sentiment that contrasted sharply with his earlier behavior. Despite his apologies, the court sentenced him to 160 years in prison. Number 9. Jennifer Mee's conviction reaction. Jennifer Mee, also known as the Hiccup Girl, who was convicted of a murder, had an emotional outburst and couldn't stop having hiccups during the trial. The Hiccup Girl faced a dramatic turn in her life when she was convicted of first-degree murder in 2010 over a mere $50. Mee lured a 22-year-old man she met online to an empty house where her accomplices robbed and fatally shot him. Throughout the trial, Mee's transformation from a media curiosity to a convicted murderer was bleak. Despite her previous fame, the court found her directly complicit in a heinous crime. Mee's conviction brought her mother to tears, showing the emotional toll of the trial on her family. Number 10. Franklin Williams gagged sentencing.
Saying freedom of speech, no duct tape.
Franklin Williams, who was convicted for multiple armed robberies, had to get his mouth taped shut during the trial because he wouldn't stop talking. In Cleveland, Ohio, Franklin Williams' run from the law came to a decisive end, as he was confronted with multiple felony charges, from armed robbery to fleeing police. During his sentencing, Williams' behavior became a significant point due to his continuous talking, despite receiving over a dozen warnings from the judge to remain silent.
That's what it is. Saying freedom of speech, no duct tape.
This led to an extraordinary measure where the judge ordered Williams' mouth to be taped shut to prevent further interruptions. This action, aimed at maintaining courtroom decorum, raised questions about the balance between ensuring order and upholding the defendant's rights. Williams, undeterred, later expressed his objections, invoking freedom of speech as he was escorted out. The initial 24-year prison sentence was later reconsidered. The judge apologized for the manner of silencing Williams and recused himself, leading to a reassignment of the case. A new judge then sentenced Williams to 33 years in prison, adjusting the previous sentence.